Hello everyone, this is Burke Nelson from CBT Nuggets. I want to welcome you to today's webinar. So I am a training advisor here. And so in today's webinar, Chris Ward, who is one of my favorite trainers at CBT Nuggets, he's been with us for over 8 years now, is going to cover 5-step action plan for IT pros. So this is a webinar kicking off our summer marketing program for summer camp. So recording of this webinar can be found on their blog, which is located at blog.cbtnuggets.com. And if you have any questions, you can use the chat pod to submit questions which can be covered at the end of the webinar. So at the end of the webinar, we're going to have a special prize for 3 participants, which will be randomly selected for a surprise prize. So without further ado, Chris Ward.
Hello everybody, and welcome to the webinar on 5 things to do this summer, or as I like to say, how to beat the summer slump. Great to have you with us today, and of course I'm coming to you live from the CBT Nuggets studios in Phoenix, Arizona, where talk about a summer slump. The summer has arrived. I hope that many of you actually live in a place that is not as close to the sun as my city is, but as you can see, we're under a heat advisory. So hopefully it will cool off. We're going to have a good time, and we're going to talk a little bit about what it is that we can do over the summer to really take our careers and drive them forward, or as I like to say, maybe even pay it forward. Get some work done now that's going to pay benefits later on before the end of the year. Typically what I find is a lot of people, especially in the IT world, summer becomes one of those really slump times where either you're in the middle of a project and you're tired of it, or they decide to spring a new project on you and you're like, I really don't want to have to do this. And yeah, your kids are out of school, or if you have kids, or maybe even you have grandkids and you want to spend time with them, and you're just wondering, what is it that I can do to really continue on my career path and not just let the summer be this time where, like this gentleman is, just kind of laying out there on the grass, hopefully not dying from heat stroke. But I got a question for you, and that is, what area in IT do you work in currently? So you can maybe work in multiple, maybe you're consulting, but go ahead and select the area that you kind of fit into, and if I missed an area, you can always chat it in over there on the chat area. But where are you guys working in? John Mary saying retail, excellent, good to have you. I guess that could kind of fit into the public sector there. Service provider, Brad says, okay, awesome. Good to have that. And as you can see with the results here, we're kind of nice across the board here. We have some healthcare, some government, public sector, education. We have 1 person. And we have 3 of you that are kind of just kicking it into the world of IT. Excellent. Hey, this is a great way to start off and take a look at the things that you can do to get in. And by the way, thank you everybody for your chat responses as they go through. And like we said, if you have questions or things like that, Burke's going to kind of be monitoring behind the scenes on that, which is going to help you out. Okay? So Jeff in the military, thank you for your service. Even if you're serving the military, Victor, telecom, you're an ISP, excellent. Great stuff. Well, in every single area, this is what I want to tell you. In every single area, the 5 things I'm going to show to you and share with you today can be used. This is a very across-the-board thing. It's not specific, if I can say that correctly, to just the healthcare industry, or if you're in the government, or if you're in the public sector, or education, or maybe even if you're just starting. Those are things that we always say, hey, it doesn't really matter. There are things that we can do as we move forward that will help us in our careers later on. We always need to be thinking, as even IT guys and gals, by the way, that about what happens in the next year? What happens in the next 3 years? What about the next 5 years? The nice thing is you've chosen a field, IT, information technology, that is going to constantly be keeping you on your toes, constantly changing. And you probably chose this because of that. It's new and it's exciting. And so let's beat that summer slump by doing a few things, 5 things actually that we're going to talk about. So the first one is going to be update your resume. Update your resume. Now I know, update resume. I don't want to update my resume. Why would I want to do that? Well, think about it. Most of us have not updated our resume in a while. I could probably ask most of you, when was the last time you actually got on your computer and updated? So if you do that, what you want to do is come in and think, okay, what have I accomplished since the last time I updated my resume, or CV for some of you folks? So the thing is that obviously if you have a new job, maybe a new position, maybe you worked on a couple of new projects, maybe you installed a new wireless solution, maybe you had to upgrade the security systems, maybe little VPNs are now available, maybe now with all the mobile devices. A lot of my friends that are out there working are saying, wow, it's that BYOD, that just bring your own device to work thing, that we are fighting tooth and nail to either stop or help or assist. Well, maybe you worked on one of those projects. The other thing you can do is, if you are certified, if you've got an MCSA, if you've got a CCNA, you got even an A+, CompTIA, or maybe a PMP certified like myself, add those certification logos to your resume. I did a little micro nugget, and make sure you check it out on the CBT Nuggets blog. You can find it, or our YouTube channel, where I talk about how you can update your resume. And one of the things that a lot of HR recruiters look for is certification logos and certifications, because it shows to them that you are in the process of either improving yourself or you have improved yourself. And so why not add the logos, because that kind of snaps out at somebody. If you have a stack of resumes, you want your resume to pop out, so that way somebody goes, wow, okay, that sounds kind of cool. Hey, maybe I want to check this person out. The other one that you can do over the summer is create a dream job resume. A dream job resume. What would you love to be doing? Because I know sometimes we're working jobs that we have to work. Hey, got to pay the bills, got to put food on the table, got to put gas in the car, and got to put a roof over your heads. I understand that. I have to do the same thing. And there's been times in my career where I took a job merely because of survival. I needed to pay for things. Sometimes I even had to take a second job, or maybe another part-time job, just to make payments on something that, a surprise doctor bill came in, or maybe your car died and now you have to get a new one. Well, we all know what that's like, and that's fine. But this summer, think about, what is your dream job? What is it that you'd like to do? What would you love to be doing? And also important, what skills have you been obtaining along the way to get you to that dream job? A lot of times people, when they think about this dream job, it becomes just a dream. They think, oh, I don't think I could ever, I'd need to be at least NP level in Cisco to get that job. Okay, well, what have you been doing to learn about that? Or, I got to learn this other technology. I got to at least understand code to get this job. Or maybe I'm working with Amazon Web Services at a service provider level, and now I have to learn all this other stuff to do. Guess what? What skills have you been obtaining? And start making plans on the next one or I should say, the next thing that you want to do. So update your resume, add the cert logos, and create that dream job resumes. Second thing that we're going to talk about, learn one new thing a week. Now this is one that I'm horrible at. I really am. I have this tendency of going, I'm a trainer. I'm constantly learning things. Why do I want to learn anything new? Well, the thing is that I usually miss out on this one. Start with something you like. Hey, do you have a hobby? Do you have something that you like to do? Maybe woodworking. Maybe you're tired of dealing with just computer screens and laptops and tablets and phone devices, and you want something that actually requires, getting some dirt under your fingernails. Maybe it's gardening. Maybe it's doing sports. Whatever it is, learn one new thing a week. Now, what I found that made it easier was I scheduled it. My schedule to learn one new thing a week is on Thursday. Now, my manager, Laura Kay, who is kind of listening in on this, and Burke knows, I'm the kind of person where if I don't schedule it, I usually miss it, and then I'm going to have to come back in and try to do it again. Schedule it. Put it on your calendar. And even if it's an hour a day or an hour in the evening, learning one new thing a week, it is going to improve you over the summer. One of the best ways to do this is going to be using our micro nuggets from CBT Nuggets. Again, hey, you don't have to pay anything for micro nuggets. They're free. They're out on the YouTube channel. If you've signed up, you should sign up to get our updates. Then you will know, hey, Keith Barker just put out a fantastic micro nugget on gray, white, and black box testing. fantastic stuff. I'm not a real security guy or a guru at all, but his stuff is awesome, and I learned something new about how you can build that environment for testing. Bitcoin is another one that's been really big that Keith and some of the guys have been doing. I'll be honest, I'm horrible with money, so learning about Bitcoin was something kind of cool. You don't have to use only micro nuggets. Grab a new book. And it doesn't have to be, like I said, IT related. You can do things like, oh, well, I can go in. Yeah, Brad, thank you for that. Appreciate that. You can get books out on any topic and just take some time and read them. Whatever it is that you can use to learn one new thing a week. That's the first thing. Now, obviously, CBT Nuggets being a training company, one of the things that we really promote and we really think is a good idea is to recertify or get a new certification. But because this is summer, what I would love for you guys to do is consider and think about, get this, recertifying. If you're Microsoft certified, maybe your Microsoft certification is old. Well, do you need to get the full MCSA for Server 2012? Maybe not. Just become an MCP. Take maybe one particular class and at least recertify with a little bit of knowledge on new Server 2012. Many of you, if you've been following on the blogs and things that I've been doing in CBT Nuggets, I am getting my MCSA 2012, and then I'm going for my MCSE Communications in Link 2013. And the reason why is because I'm going to start doing training on it, and we're going to offer that Link 2013. It's going to be fantastic. And I have loved going back and starting to recertify. I had to recertify. My MCSE was 2000. In fact, I got it in 2000. I only missed the first. I think they were doing something on the first 1,000 people who got it, got like special certification plaques and all kinds of neat bells and whistles. I think I missed it by the first 100, or I was like number 1100. So that's a long time ago. We're talking end of 99 into 2000. And so that was the last time I really certified in Microsoft in the server environment. And that is huge because, again, recertifying helps, number one, to show that you have passion about what you do. I love what I do. I love training. I love technology. I love teaching other people about technology. Updating a certification shows to your bosses and to the people around you that you have a passion about what you do. It also shows you have dedication, not only to the company that you work at, but also to your career and your field. And then finally, updating a certification shows initiative, that you're willing to go out and do this on your own if necessary. And that always looks good to just about anybody because it shows that you can dig deep, you can get down, and you can basically get done what needs to get done. That helps you in just about any environment that you can think of, whether it's in the healthcare, the military, or any of the other areas that you're working in, right? So recertify. That's step number 3. We're moving down and get over here now to step number 8. And this is an interesting one. And a lot of people kind of look at this and kind of scratch their heads. Involve your friends and or your family. Well, why is that? Well, one of the things that I find in my life working with IT and working with other IT folks is that there are issues in our relationships. One of the top issues in a marriage, not enough time spent together. One of the top requests of the kids, spending time with their moms and dads. And so what we can do is we can do things together to help alleviate the boredom, and plus it helps challenge each other to do other things. And what I mean by that is that not only does your friends and family come and get involved in what you're doing, whether it's, hey, honey, can you come over and ask me some quiz questions about this? Here's the book and here's the questions. Ask me questions about how to set up Active Directory Federation services. My wife has no clue what that is, but she's willing to help out. Plus, we're participating. We're getting to spend time together. And then when it's time for her to get something done or something that she's working on, I can then spend that time with her. You can do this with your friends too. If you're like, well, hey, Chris, I'm not married, or I don't have a significant other right now. Hey, no worries. Find a friend. Usually it's going to be somebody that's probably in your industry because, let's face it, we usually hang out with a lot of the people that we tend to do the same things. And I'm sure one of your friends might want to help you out. Hey, let's go out to the local watering hole grab a beverage or two, and hey, let's just, I know it sounds silly, but hey, can you quiz me on a couple of things, or can you give me some advice on these things, or talk about things? And for those of you who have maybe, your kids, it's interesting how some of our kids figure things out faster than we do. I have an 18-year-old and I have a 13-year-old, and both of them are able to figure things out quickly, fast, and a lot better than I do. And so sometimes I'll even walk my kids through some of the things I'm learning, and I'll say, does that make sense to you? And they'll be like, yep, absolutely. And I'll be like, well, crud. It doesn't make sense to me, but it does help challenge me, but it also, they get to learn something as well. I always say that if you're going to do a career, if you're going to live your life, if you're not being able to do it with somebody alongside you, whether it's family or friends, I mean, it's really not worth doing what you're doing, is it? And so it also encourages, it helps bring happiness into your life. And I know this sounds like a real feel-good, warm and fuzzy type of thing. Absolutely. I believe if we don't have warm and fuzzy in our careers and in our lives, then what is life about? Going out and doing something fun, which we're going to talk about here on the next, which is something that it's hard for us, especially if you're a workaholic. I'm one of those people that likes to go and do things. If I'm not busy, I start getting the sweats. It's bad. My wife literally has to take away my phone, take away my laptop if we go on vacation, because I start getting withdrawal symptoms. Anyone like that? Probably. It's just because I'm so used to being able to be connected. Sometimes we need to take a break. So here's what I'd love for all of you to do, and it is, number one, plan some sort of vacation. And here's the thing, mini vacations over the weekend, they count. Staycations, where you don't go very far, maybe just, in our case, I live in a little town called Maricopa, which is about 28 miles from Phoenix. And there's been a couple times where my wife and I are just like, you know what, let's just go find a nice little resort up in Scottsdale. And they usually, especially in the summer, they have really good deals. Let's just go up for a couple of days. It doesn't cost a lot of money, and you can still have fun. Those are the things that we look for and what we want to do. But you need that break. It really helps to recharge your batteries. By the way, if you've accomplished a goal at work or in your life, make sure to celebrate it and enjoy it. It's such a great time when you've done something. At work, maybe your boss has said, hey, we've completed the project. You get a nice pat on the back. Hey, maybe you can get a small raise. It'd be nice, right? Or he says, hey, take a couple days off. Hey, celebrate it. Enjoy it. This is the summer. Remember, we are getting ready to do our ultimate summer camp, Camp Conquer. It's going to be a great time, and I hope everybody out there gets a chance to sign up for it. You're going to win some really cool stuff. But celebrate it. Celebrate life, because part of that is to pay it forward. And what I mean by that is that when you start celebrating and you start thinking about what it is that you've accomplished and what you're going to do, you are already setting the stage for the next thing. You're already setting the stage for the next certification. You're already setting the stage for the next position or goal at work because, again, you celebrate it. One of the things that I talk about is make a monument. Now, that doesn't mean you go out and buy some marble and stick it in your backyard. I mean, I guess you could, especially if you get like a CCIE. It might be worth putting a little monument out in the backyard. But what I do say is that you take the time to make this a place where you say, I accomplished something. One of the best ways I do that is I take whatever my certification that I get in the mail, or if I get a note or a letter, and I literally put it in a frame, and I stick it up in my office. And so when I do that, I have that monument of this is something I've accomplished. And if you've spent the summer and you've updated your resume, you went and tried to recertify, you're learning new things. Let's say you went and actually took a little class at a community college and you got an A on it. Hey, print it off from your school's learning management system and put it in a frame and stick it in front of your computer for a little bit and just say, hey, I did that. I accomplished that. This is something that I've done, and this is something that I definitely want to celebrate because, again, whether you've accomplished it through your work, through your study, or anything else, it's going to be good for you. By the way, John, love geocaching. It's a great thing. Actually, out here in the Arizona desert, we have a lot. I don't know if you're from around here, but just do a check on the geocaching for Arizona. There's tons of them all over the place. Great little thing to do free to play, and the kids love it, absolutely. So that pretty much wraps up the things that I wanted to tell you about. And so just to kind of remind ourselves a little bit about those 5 things. The first thing you want to do is you want to update your resume. Second thing you want to do is learn one new thing a week. Start with something you like. Make sure you write it down, put it on your schedule, even if it's for 30 minutes. Or maybe even start with 15 minutes. You know, remember, our micro nuggets are 10 minutes or less. That's pretty simple, pretty easy. Recertify. Remember, what you're doing as you study, as you prepare, actually shows to the people around you, your peers and your bosses, your managers, your leadership, that you have passion, you have dedication, and you have initiative, especially if you're doing it on your own. It's always easy if they go, hey, I want you to go get your CCNA. Okay. But if you take it on for yourself, it really helps. Involve your family or friends. Remember, we're not on this journey alone. Make sure that you take the time to spend it with family and friends, or friends, and both, if you can. Doing things together, it alleviates that boredom. It's not just you sitting in front of the computer screen going click, click, next, click, click, next. You know, which is one of the great things about CBT Nuggets is it's not click, click, next. It's, hey, let me show you how to do something, which is kind of fun. And maybe you can help challenge each other. And finally, and I know you like this, hey, it's summer vacation, right? For your, at least if you have kids, they're out of school, perhaps. Plan some sort of vacation. Make it small if you need to. Make it close by if you have to. You don't need a lot of money to have fun. And then make sure if you do accomplish any goals at work and in life, make sure to celebrate it. Pay it forward, plan your next thing, and make a monument. So I'm going to turn it back over to Mr. Burke, and he is going to take any questions that are coming in, and we'll take them there.
Thanks, Chris. Great tips there. I really like the part about scheduling time to learn and, you know, and really holding yourself accountable to that time. Something I hear as a training advisor, sometimes it's really easy to be too busy to train or too busy to learn. So scheduling that time is a big asset in doing that. So we're going to start the Q&A section of this. If you have any questions, please use the chat pod to submit those questions. But in the meantime, Chris, I have a question for you.
Okay,
so my kids are pretty young. How do I get them involved in my studies or certification journey?
You know, that's a great question. If you have young kids, especially ones, obviously if they're babies and they're not even walking yet, probably not something that makes it easy for them to help. But one thing I found is, especially if you have really, really young kids, I had one of my students, this is years back, tell me that he would watch my nuggets, and then he would turn around and he would, you know, if his kid was fussy, because, you know, the kid gets fussy, get up in the middle of the night, and he figures, well, I'm up and I'm kind of walking him around. He would turn it on the on his computer and just kind of walk back and forth and listen to the CBT Nuggets. And so he said, hey, I used time that I had. I got to kind of bond with my baby boy, and it was kind of cool. Of course, I had to ask him, I said, how quickly did the kid go to sleep after listening to me? You know, that might work. Great question, by the way.
Great, Chris.
So,
now, I have another question for you. We hear these from customers from time to time. You know, this is an issue here at CBT Nuggets. But customers may say that their boss is against certifications. Is it even worth their time to even try to get certified?
Well, you know, remember what I said earlier when it comes to viewing things over the summer. You're not just thinking about your current job. You're thinking about where you're going to be 2 years, 3 years, 10 years, where you know, pretty much anything that you're going to be doing in the future will do well with certifications. Now, for example, I'm going to share something with you. I had this kind of on standby just in case here. Let me open this up. One of the things I also teach on is, of course, project management. If you guys have seen, I have the Certified Associate in Project Management. I work with Steve Casely to make sure that we you know, get all the latest and greatest stuff up there. Well, PMI has this thing called the Project Management Salary Survey, and what's really cool about it is that you can actually plug in, all right, this is what my job title is, this is where I live. You can see here United States. I do it across the country. You can pick your particular city, the currency, and I want you to watch what happens to the screen. this is compensation, salary, bonus, total compensation. Here is the average, the median, and then of course you got your sample sizes and things like this of where they looked at. But notice this is non-PMP. So this is non-certified project managers. Watch what happens when I go to PMP. Anyone notice the difference? The average salary and compensation goes up. Now, of course, a lot of people go, exactly, Chris, that's why my boss doesn't like certifications, because they think I'm going to come in and try to get more money. Well, here's a couple of things. Number one is your current boss might not be excited about certifications, but that doesn't mean that your future boss might not be excited about certifications, and or if that ever becomes one of those things where you're just like, you know what, I need to find a new job. I need to get a new job. Well, then now, if you're working on certifications on your own time, you will eventually get there. Or if you're applying for a job, you know, I know Jenny was saying, you know, this kind of fits there. You can be ready and prepared to talk to that future company that you're working for and say, hey, I'm currently in the process of getting my MCSA. I'm almost ready to take my CCNA exams. I'm almost ready to get my PMP, and I'm in the process of doing that right this minute. That's going to show them that you are willing to work outside of the norms and that you are willing to take some of the onus upon yourself to get yourself up to speed for that next job. So that's what I would say. Yeah, Louis says, my current manager doesn't care about certs. My new manager is excited about my certs and to motivate, partly to motivate staff. Absolutely. Remember, you are in a current position in time. That does not mean your future will be the same. Because if you keep finding bosses that treat you that way, it might be time to move to a different type of company and use your skill set somewhere else. And just kind of keep that in mind. We have a great series, by the way. Some of the things that you might have seen, Ryan Lee, who's our Chief Operating Officer, and our CEO and President, Dan Charbonneau, talk about the interviewing process and about how your questions about your future company are just as important as their questions to you, because you want to make sure it is a good fit. Okay. Yep, there you go. If you can't get a pay raise, ask if they will sponsor you to learn more certs. And in certain cases, in certain organizations, mostly in the public sector, for Cisco, for example, the more NPs and IEs that they have for a company, the better deals they get on equipment, whether you're a gold partner or you know, those kind of things. I think they might have changed the phraseology since I've been doing it, but you know, those are all goods. So anyway, hopefully that answered the question for you, Bert.
Yeah. Hey, Patrick came in with a question here. He says, other than CBT nuggets and books, do you recommend anything else for training?
You know, obviously I could list a whole bunch of other aspects. I'm obviously very biased that CBT nuggets is great in books. Another great way for training is to volunteer. Okay? Volunteer. And the reason why is because when you volunteer at, let's say, your local YMCA, they're like, hey, you know, our systems are old and antiquated, but we're going to get some equipment, but we don't know how to install it. And you overhear that. Maybe your kids are at the YMCA. You can say, hey, you know what? I'm a network engineer. Would you like me to come and help you? You know, I'll just donate my time. And who knows? If you donate your time, maybe the YMCA will go, well, I'll tell you what, we'll cut 20% off your fees. All that to say is find opportunities to do some of what you do in an environment where they might give you a little bit more leeway, a little bit more time to get something done. Because guess what? Free is free. And if they want to, they know how much they're going to pay for a full-blown CCIE to come in and rewire their network. Whereas you're like, hey, I'm a CCNA. I understand it pretty well. Hey, wow, you got a new Catalyst switch coming in? That'd be kind of cool. If you don't mind me working with it and practicing on it. And, you know, some companies, some places, you know, your local Boy Scout troops, Girl Scouts, whatever it is, find a place where you can volunteer. That's a great place to be trained.
Chris, I have a question for you. So time is precious. I think we can both agree on that. Now, should I use that time to learn more of a soft skill or learn more of a technical skill every week?
Great question. Here's my question to you. Are you really good at soft skills, go learn some IT technical stuff. Are you really good with the IT stuff? But most people say, hey, you know, hey Chris, you're a little bit of an introvert, and people know you work hard, but they don't like working with you. What does that mean to me? I might need to go take a soft skills class or learn how to communicate better. Maybe I'm just have a hard time communicating what's going on. And there is training out there that will help you with that, including some of the stuff that we have here with CBT Nuggets. But that's a great question. Make sure that if you're really, really good at IT, but not so good with the soft skills, management, leadership, hey, go take a real quick community college class or something online. Grab a couple books. I've got a really, really great leadership manual from John Maxwell that I'm reading. Awesome. Because, hey, leadership is something that I need to improve in. So that's what I'm going to do.
Awesome. Thank you, Chris. And I want to thank everyone for participating today and attending this webinar. I want to remind you that this webinar recording can be found on our blog, which is located at blog.cbtnuggets.com. And I also want to remind you that we are going to be giving some special prizes to 3 participants. We're going to be contacting you through the email address you have associated with this webinar. Once again, I want to thank everyone for attending. Thank you, Chris, and take care.